Well, Nick Collier here, and it's story time again. This came about 2 days ago. I went to my physical therapist, and she's got me running the little hand bicycle to kind of warm up my shoulder because I got a frozen shoulder. It's been going on for, I don't know, 6 months or so. And, it's an old injury. I went over a waterfall on my head. And if you want to see that story, look down below. I'll put a link in there. It's a story I put up, probably about a year ago. So anyhow, I'm running this little bicycle facing the wall, and there's a picture there. And then, I got to do this little thing for like 10 minutes, 5 minutes one way and 5 minutes the other way. And I'm looking at this picture, and it's a picture of Half Dome in Yosemite. And I remember back when I was 8 years old, Mr. Freeman, and I've also told the story about Mr. Freeman, he took about 6 of us kids up to Yosemite, and we hiked back into the backcountry and hiked up to Half Dome. Now, if you've ever been to Yosemite, actually these days, Happy Isles is under, tons and tons of rock because part of the cliff caved in, maybe 10, 15 years ago. But this was back in the 50s. And we hiked up through Happy Isles back into Vernal Falls, which was this pretty amazing falls. And it was midsummer, so it wasn't real, the falls weren't real heavy, but they were heavy enough to create the mist. And the trail is called the Mist Trail. So you're kind of walking up this windy little trail, and you get to the falls, and the actual falls themselves are creating this mist. And you're literally walking up the side of the falls through this mist until you get to the rock wall that are the falls. And that, it's probably, I don't know, maybe 300 or 400 feet tall. And they've got this trail cut out in the face of the rock. And it's, it's just a little narrow trail, but they've got a rail on there, so it's all safe and everything. And it was a very cool hike. And it probably from the beginning of Happy Isles to the top of Nevada Falls was maybe 1.5 miles. But for an 8-year-old, 1.5 miles is a long ways. So we hiked through this falls and up the side of this cliff and to the top of Nevada Falls. And that's where the little Yosemite Valley begins. And so, we hang out there for a while, and then we start back into the little Yosemite Valley. And, being young boys, we are kind of constantly getting sidetracked. And Mr. Freeman was great. For him, it was the journey, not the destination. So it took us all day to hike through Little Yosemite Valley from Nevada Falls to Vernal Falls. No, the reverse. Vernal Falls comes first, then to Nevada Falls, which was maybe another 2 miles back. And then, of course, we hiked these switchback trails up to the top of Nevada Falls. And then continuing up Little Yosemite Valley, which was this spectacular valley. I mean, you walk behind Half Dome, and literally Half Dome, which is probably, 1,000 feet tall, it just comes down as a dome and goes right into the soil. I mean, you walk right up to the edge of the dome and you look up, and it's pretty much straight up, and then it just tapers over. And most of the classic views of a Half Dome are on the other side, which is a sheer cliff. But the back side of Half Dome is literally, you know, like a big tennis ball. And so, you know, we're messing around, and finally we get to the back side of Half Dome, and we start to camp out next to the river, and it's late afternoon. The sun hasn't quite gone down yet. We set up a campsite, and we're all happy, but, you know, there's a little, the Merced River is coming past, and we get out fishing poles, and you know, we're just having a regular camping extravaganza. And then just about the time the sun goes down, the mosquitoes come out, and I can't tell you, it was just a cloud of mosquitoes. And you know, I mean, and they came out all at once. It's like, whoa, they were there. Maybe 5,000 mosquitoes around the, you know, the six of us in our little campsite. And we were just like, screaming and yelling and running and didn't know what to do. We finally just jumped in the river. The river was a bit cold, but not real bad. I mean, midsummer. And Mr. Freeman kind of knew what to do, which was great. So he had a little campfire going, so he went and got a bunch of green wood and put it in the campfire and got that fire smoking like a champ. You know, I mean, these days, could you even have a fire back in that back country? You know, I mean, you know, the fire season, when fire season happens, that's it. No fires, period. But we had this little campfire going, and the smoke drove the mosquitoes away, at least most of them. So then we came back out of the water and sat around the fire, huddled the fire until, I don't know, it was probably 2 or 3 hours before the mosquito, you know, it got cool enough that the mosquitoes disappeared. So we had dinner and had a great campsite, you know, having fun and telling ghost stories, you know, the standard thing. And so stay the night. Next morning we wake up and we're going to camp, or we're going to hike up Half Dome. And from where we were down in Little Yosemite Valley next to the Merced River, it was probably another 1.5 miles, 2 miles to get to the base of the dome, around to the base of the face part of the dome. And so, you know, we hiked up these switchbacks and got to the top, and we kind of came to the base of the dome, and there were 2 cables, and they stood, I don't know, maybe 3 feet off of the stone, and they were like bolted into the stone, and you know, the supports for the cables, and the cables just ran through these eyelets all the way up to the top of the Half Dome. And then about every 10 feet there was a 2x6, or maybe it might have been a 4x6 or something like that. It was a pretty stout piece of wood that went across the rock, and it was maybe 10 feet wide. So you grabbed the cables and you kind of shimmied yourself up to the next 2x6 and rested a little bit. I mean, we're up at 6,000-7,000 feet, so you know, you have to rest in between. So shimmy back up the next one, and then shimmy up to the next one, and Kenny and I, you know, we were first because we were the oldest of the group, and oh man, we were gung-ho to get to the top. And Mr. Freeman's way back there. So shimmying up and going and going and going. And I think it's about a 600-foot climb up to the top of the dome. And so we just like got to the top, and we were all excited, and we ran out to the ledge, and we just stood on the ledge and looked down. And the wind literally just blew us back onto our butts. Luckily, the wind was blowing that direction and not that direction from behind us. And we just like looked over, and it was like, whoa, that is a long ways down. So we got on our bellies and kind of crawled up to the edge and just put our heads over the edge of the cliff and looked down, and it was like, whoa, it was a long ways down. And that's pretty much the end of that story. I mean, we hiked back and we all of that stuff, but that was the edge. That was the moment. Another time that my guardian angels were looking over me. This is Nick Collier, checking out.